We've committed on the show to keeping everybody updated on the situation in Hong Kong, and sadly, we can now report that the United States has had to impose sanctions on China for what they have done in Hong Kong, the enaction of a new national security law, which went into effect yesterday. And Ryan, exactly what everybody feared is exactly what happened, which is that the Chinese authorities wasted no time in immediately arresting protesters, pro-democracy protesters, and others. Yesterday being one of the, I think it was the date in which they often commemorate the anniversary of Hong Kong's freedom, usually draws tens of thousands of protesters and pro-democracy activists out into the streets. All of those people didn't show up. People are deleting their social media accounts. They're trying to go underground, and they're basically saying, we know we will face retribution for saying bad things about the Chinese Communist Party there. And really what the activists have said is ultimately was come true, which is that it's not just a small group like the Chinese authorities want us to think it is. It is they want full and complete control over Hong Kong society. And Hong Kong as we know it is probably dead. And I think that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, when people talked about the courage that it took the demonstrators to get into the street, this is what they were talking about.
Yes.
This is what they're facing, the brutality of the Chinese government rounding up people en masse in order to suppress dissent.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. I mean, we also know, we got a report out from the Associated Press a couple days ago that in Xinjiang, that they are forcibly to making women have abortions, giving them IUDs, and have actually dropped the Xinjiang Uyghur birth rate by several points, because there's this idea amongst China and the Chinese Communist Party in order to boost the Han Chinese population relative to the ethnic minorities who live in China. I mean, it's basically they're practicing what somebody called in that story demographic genocide. And it comes on the very same time. And actually, one of the reasons people get thrown into camps is for having too many children or for refusing to comply with the birth control regulations. Yesterday, the United States Customs Department seized actually wigs, like wigs that were bound for United States stores that were made with suspected slave labor in Xinjiang province. These are the people that we're talking and we're dealing with here. And it's just one of these things what disgusts me the most, Ryan, is I saw a Reuters headline, investors have no problem with what's going on in Hong Kong right now, right? Capital will always prefer autocracy. It's consistency, right? As long as they let you wash their bank money through Hong Kong, they don't care what you do to those people in the streets. It's generally repulsive to me.
Yeah, capitalism was built on slavery, so it's not like they're going to object to it now.
Yeah.
The demographic genocide that you're talking about is going hand in hand over there with what other experts call cultural genocide.
Yes.
Which is
That's right.
Rather than fully annihilating the people themselves, they just make it impossible for the culture that has survived there for centuries to continue to operate by not allowing people to engage in any of the religious or other communal activities that are part of that culture. That Han supremacy has to reign.
Yeah, I mean, I know many Uyghurs myself. Actually, a friend whose mother's in one of the camps right now. Obviously, all my thoughts with him, with so many of the people there, and with Hong Kong is now gone its own way. And Secretary of State Mike Pompeo actually addressed this yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Yesterday, the Chinese Communist Party implemented its draconian national security law on Hong Kong in violation of commitments that it made to the Hong Kong people and to the United Kingdom, in a UN-registered treaty, and in contravention of Hong Kongers' human rights and fundamental freedoms. Free Hong Kong was one of the world's most stable, prosperous, and dynamic cities. Now it will be just another communist-run city where its people will be subject to the party elite's whims. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is sad, and this is a big moment, I think, for the China and Hong Kong and its relationship with the United States. But I have to go back to what we were talking about earlier, which is that the largest corporations in America could care less about what's happening in Hong Kong. They could care less about how the Chinese treat Uyghur Muslims. They could care less about any of that because in China, they get better profits by manufacturing their stuff there. And the only way to do anything about it is to force them to stop doing so. So that's the main message that I want to get across here. And we'll continue to keep everybody updated on what's happening in Hong Kong and very much stand with them right now. Tomorrow on Rising, we're going to have conversations with Andrew Feldman and Rachel Bovard about the futures of the Democratic and the Republican parties.
And Federalist culture editor Emily
right.
Jashinsky discusses China's influence on Hollywood.
I love the emphasis you put on her name there, Ryan. And to make sure that you guys see these conversations and more, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe right now. And everybody, please thank Ryan for hosting with me this week. He's done an amazing job. So if you want to tweet or comment about how amazing Ryan is, I will not stop you from doing so. We will see you guys next week.
It's been amazing.